In addition to the individual scale, share, rotate, and so on transformations that you can get under the object menu, the transform each command will let you apply several of them all at the same time. And what we'll do in this lesson is I'll take that transform each command, combine it with the transform again command, and we'll create a cool effect from it. Right now I have just a plain blank document, and it doesn't matter if you set yours to RGB or CMYK color, it's going to work the same way. But let's start by getting the star tool. So I'm going to go over here and click and hold on the rectangle tool, and I'll bring up the star tool. And rather than clicking and dragging to create a shape, I want some particular settings. So let's just click on the page. And let's do this. Let's set a radius of 1¼ inches. That's radius 1. Hit the tab key and let's make radius 2 just plain old 1 inch. And let's give it 25 points. Click OK. And now you have a star. But I want this to be maybe a little bigger after all. I'll just put my mouse pointer on one of the corner handles and I'll hold the shift key down and just drag this so it's a little bit bigger. And maybe zoom in on it. I'll just press Command plus, or you can press Control plus in Windows. However you want to zoom in is fine. And I'll hold down the space bar and drag this. I want to drag this off to the side because we're going to have a dialog box over here on the right. Let's give it some color. Plain black and white is kind of boring. Let's give it a fill of yellow. So I'm just going to go up here and I'll choose a yellow fill. And let's give it a stroke of maybe, say, just a dark gray. I'll choose this one here. And I'm going to set that just to about ½ point. Just because we want some definition, but we don't really need much color. Leave it selected. And let's go up to the object menu, over to transform. And then down here towards the bottom of the flyout, choose transform each. And this dialog box comes up. And you see there's a whole lot of settings. And what you want to do first before anything is in the lower left corner, make sure preview is turned on just so you can see what you're doing as you're changing the settings. Also in the proxy here, make sure the reference point is set to the middle dot. So if you need to, just click to set the dot in the middle. Now let's take a look at what's going on. We have some scale settings, and you could simply drag this back and forth so you can scale the horizontal, make it narrower or wider, take the vertical and the same thing. You could make it shorter, you can make it taller, and you can also move it around. Move it one way by dragging to the right, move the opposite direction, dragging to the left. Vertical, also you could drag to the right, move it down, drag to the left, move it up. But again, I have some particular settings that I want in here. Let's scale this horizontally by 90%. You don't have to type in the percent sign. Hit the tab key and make this also vertically 90. Hit the tab key so we know that it's going to be scaled about 10% smaller. And moving horizontally and vertically, let's just leave those as 0 because we don't want this moving anywhere. We want this making a little smaller. Now we also have this setting for angle, and you could take this and you can drag the little dial one way or the other, but you really can't tell very much because it's basically a circle with points on it. But you could dial in numbers. Let's make this 20 degrees. And again, hit the tab key and it kind of rotates a little bit, but this is going to become obvious in another moment. Now if I simply leave it like this and OK it, well, no big deal. The rotation doesn't really do anything. We're simply making it a little bit smaller. But down here at the bottom, click copy. And you see what it's done is it's made a new shape of the same type, but 10% smaller. And you can tell by looking at the points here, it's rotated a little bit. And it's the new one that remains selected. So what I want to do is I want to make a whole bunch more of these, and each successive shape I want scaled 90% and rotated 20%. Now I could do this manually, right? We could go up to the object menu, do transform each and do it over and over again, but an easier way is transform again. And again, because it's the new one that's selected, we don't have to select it each time. Now go up to the object menu, go to transform, and you see from the top of the flyout, transform again. So we have another one that's scaled 10% smaller than the original. But you may have seen that the shortcut is Command D or Control D in Windows. So let's just do that a bunch of times. I'm just going to keep pressing Command D or Control D over and over again. And each new one gets smaller and smaller, rotated more and more. And you can just kind of do that into infinity. I'll just click over here and deselect. So now we have this kind of neat looking pattern. I'll just kind of move it in here. If you see any little stray lines in there, that's just the video not refreshing. And of course you could zoom in a little bit if you want. So you have this really neat pattern by transforming each and transforming again. Unfortunately, what that dialog box does not let you do is it does not let you color each individual one. So if you want some kind of rainbow effect, then you can just select each one and individually apply a fill color or a stroke color.